What is burnout and how do you avoid it? Today on Psy vs. Psy. Stay tuned. This morning, I walked into the kitchen and flipped on the light switch. There was a brief flash followed by darkness. This light bulb is burned out. After an impressive number of years of relentlessly and thanklessly doing its job, despite long hours and abuse by switch-flipping toddlers, okay, maybe me too sometimes, is it any wonder it gave out? Well, a similar thing can happen to you if you're under chronic stress. With insufficient time to recover, you eventually get depleted, and it's not surprising that you might wind up in a pretty dark place. Hey, I think your poignant light bulb gimmick is going to win us that Webby Award. Yeah, oh crap, are we still rolling? The idea of burnout first emerged in the 1960s to describe a pattern of mental health issues that could be observed among medical professionals. A flurry of research in the 70s and 80s resulted in formalization of the construct of burnout and what it entails. Burnout research is having a resurgence and has gotten a lot of attention from scientists over the past few years. Most often, it's studied in professional settings. The helping professions are especially prone to experiencing burnout: physicians, nurses, law enforcement. So a lot of attention has been paid to those areas. Here's what seems to be true about burnout according to science. It's a psychological syndrome that develops as a result of prolonged stress, especially at work, that can negatively impact motivation. It can lead to things like absenteeism, lowered performance on the job, intention to leave the job. A researcher named Christina Maslach described three subcomponents of burnout: emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and low personal accomplishment. Most researchers use the Maslach Burnout Inventory, or MBI, that she developed to assess burnout, which has three subscales, one for each of burnout's three subcomponents. Emotional exhaustion asks you to rate your agreement with items like, "I feel emotionally drained from my work," and "I feel fatigued when I get up in the morning and have to face another day on the job." Depersonalization, or cynicism, asks questions like, "I doubt the significance of my work," or "I don't really care what happens to some of my patients." Low personal accomplishment may ask whether you agree with the statements, "I have accomplished many worthwhile things in this job," or "In my opinion, I'm good at my job." Fun. So you can see why burnout would be a problem, and maybe something we would want to avoid, especially in these key jobs where we need people performing at their best. Before we can talk about how to prevent and fix burnout, however, there are a few key issues with how research on burnout is carried out that we have to discuss. A systematic review in 2018 found that the research on burnout has way too many definitions of what burnout actually is, which unsurprisingly results in huge differences in estimates of burnout prevalence. Estimates range from 0% to 80% among physicians, for example, meaning it's hard to really say anything definitive about burnout until everybody can agree upon a definition. Standardization is an important component in research. Any new science has to go through this procedure of finding its legs, getting researchers to agree upon definitions and finding the best approaches to measuring whatever it is they're studying. Right now, researchers use different cutoff scores to say whether or not someone is or is not burned out, leading to wildly different conclusions. Maslach herself maintains that this is the wrong approach altogether. The scale is a continuum, after all. The question is not, are you burned out or not? It's, how burned out are you? So we've got a long way to go before we can be confident about the findings of burnout research. But what does the science suggest at this point that we might do to help burnout? Sadly, not much. We don't really know the etiology or causes of burnout just yet, which really limits what we can do to stop it. Some research suggests that people most at risk are those with both work and home issues, which means work-based interventions may have limited effectiveness. That said, a 2017 meta-analysis of burnout interventions in physicians showed that there were things that organizations could do that had at least a mild impact on burnout. In that study, management changes that focused on things like rescheduling and reducing workload were more effective than approaches that tried to bolster coping techniques of the doctors, like meditation to reduce stress and increasing self-confidence. Right now, scientists are arguing whether burnout, which has symptoms that overlap with depression and anxiety-related disorders, is actually a separate construct or not. We'll see how that pans out. In the meantime, here's my suggestion for you as an individual. While there are no easy solutions, a few things that broadly impact mental health for the better may be good to keep in mind. You are a human, and humans have needs. Our brains evolved to deal with very different problems than we typically deal with today. Since burnout is believed to be related to chronic stress, identifying the things that cause the stress might be useful, though you might not have control over those things, which is probably why they're stressful in the first place. But simple changes that might help mitigate stress may be possible. Second, make sure to take breaks whenever possible. Taking a break from the stress during the day might make it less chronic. Cutting out social media that might cause unnecessary outrage or removing work email notifications from your phone may allow you to maximize your downtime and help you recover. Try not to overload yourself. I know, easier said than done. Finally, I suggest that basic mental health practices such as seeking social support from others, getting appropriate sleep, and exercise are all ways to bolster your resilience in the face of threats to your mental health in general. I hope you found this video at least a little bit useful. Oops, it looks like you forgot to hit the like button and click subscribe. We'll have more videos coming up on all things psychology, and until next time, keep thinking. Since one of the better ways to avoid burnout is to take regular breaks, we at Psy vs. Psy are going to take a short break over the holidays, but don't worry, those big beautiful brains, we will be back with more about the science of psychology before the next semester starts. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, check out the Discord link in the video description or leave a message for us on this video. See you soon.